This meeting to order. Ask you please stand now for a brief moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Board Member Arnett McSwain. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Agenda item 2.4 is the mission statement. Ms. McSwain.
The mission of the Portsmouth Public School Division is to engage all students in learning that will foster academic excellence and responsible citizenship.
Thank you so much. Sure. Agenda item 2.5 is attendance. And Madam Clerk.
Miss Atkinson?
Here.
Mrs. Boone?
Here.
Dr. Cotton?
Present.
Mrs. Futrell?
Here.
Miss McSwain?
Here.
Mrs. Sessoms?
Here.
Miss Shoemake?
Here.
Dr. Walker?
Here.
Dr. Patillo?
Here. Thank you so much. Agenda item 2.6 is approval of the agenda for May 8th, 2025. I entertain a motion at this time.
Move for approval. Second.
Motion made by Ms. Futrell, was it?
Yes.
Okay. And second by Ms. Boone. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Alrighty, Miss Atkinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Boone?
Yes.
Dr. Cotton?
Yes.
Miss Futrell?
Yes.
Miss McSwain?
Yes.
Mrs. Sessoms?
Yes.
Miss Shoemake?
Yes.
Dr. Walker?
Yes.
Dr. Patillo?
Yes.
And it's unanimous.
Thank you so much. Agenda item 3.1, I ask that our Vice Chair will move us into closed meeting at this time.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. I move that the board enter into a closed meeting under the provisions of Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia for the following purpose: consideration of personnel matters, including the assignment, performance, and resignation of specific school employees as permitted under subsection A.1, and discussion concerning the performance of the superintendent and the school board as permitted under subsection A.1.
Second.
Move for approval.
We have a motion by the Vice Chair and a second by Ms. Boone.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion?
Baby girl.
Seeing none, roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Miss Atkinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Boone?
Yes.
Dr. Cotton?
Yes.
Mrs. Futrell?
Yes.
Miss McSwain?
Yes.
Mrs. Sessoms?
Yes. Baby
Miss
girl.
Shoemake?
Yes.
Dr. Walker?
Yes.
Dr. Patillo?
Yes.
And the vote is unanimous.
Thank you so much. We're going to enter the closed meeting at this time.
Okay. proceed in closed meeting.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Second by Ms. Boone. Motion made by the Vice Chair, and a second by Ms. Boone.
You got yours.
Any discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
All right, Ms. Atkinson,
Yes.
Mrs. Boone,
Yes.
Dr. Cotton,
Yes.
Mrs. Futrell,
Yes.
Ms. McSwain,
Yes.
Mrs. Sessoms,
Yes.
Ms. Shoemake,
Yes.
Dr. Walker,
Yes.
Dr. Patillo.
Yes.
The vote is unanimous.
All right, thank you so much. We're now moved to agenda item 4.1 as a roll call vote, consideration of proposed changes to superintendent's contract. Entertain a motion at this time.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Shoemake, second. Ms. Boone?
Yes.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Excuse me. Mrs. Boone?
Yes.
Dr. Cotton?
Yes.
Mrs. Futrell?
Yes.
Ms. McSwain?
Yes.
Mrs. Sessoms?
Yes.
Ms. Shoemake?
Yes.
Dr. Walker?
Yes.
Dr. Patillo?
Yes.
The vote is unanimous.
Thank you so much. Agenda item 4.2 is proposed 2025-26 budget update. And I just want to open this section up. We had our school board liaison meeting this week. As you know, before we were facing a $6 million shortfall that we were asking from the city. The governor's budget came in and he withheld a support cap, which gave us an additional $3 million to our budget, which decreased our need from $6 million to $3.4 million. During our meeting, Dr. Bracy met with the city manager prior to the meeting, let him know that we had only a $3.4 million shortfall. The city manager stated that they could give us $1.5 million of the 3.4, which would leave us a $1.9 million shortfall that we're facing. During the meeting, it was a very pleasant meeting. We agreed on some things that we actually worked together on to further the city and the school division. But the 1.5 numbers where they are as far as what they can do for us per the city manager for this budget year, which is short of 1.9 million. I stated at that time that we're committed as a board to ensuring that our staff receive their proper step increases this year. So we're going to do whatever it takes to make that happen. And we would have to find $1.9 million to cut from our current program to make that happen. So that's where we are right now with that. And so Dr. Bracy was given a task by the board the last meeting to find proposed cuts that could possibly be made. And he's here to present those cuts tonight as far as what those proposals could possibly be. Before he presents, Dr. Cotton.
Rewinding back, was there a different amount they were speaking of giving at first, the city council?
So when the first shortfall was $6 million.
Right, and they were willing to give how much?
At that time, they were trying to meet us halfway with $3 million for that.
So was that changed because of I'm just trying to understand the movement of the goalposts. That's what I'm trying to understand. Did they give some reason how it jumps from the magical number? We're trying to do 3, that we're not going to do the full amount. Now that we've been given more funds by the state, that is decreased. I would think that since it's decreased, that would say, okay, good, we don't have to do as much as we're asked to give, but we will do what we said we would try to do. That's kind of a long ways off.
But so it wasn't discussed during our liaison meeting as far as how he derived at the 1.5. That was actually told to the superintendent before that meeting started. So I'm not sure if he gave you a reason why or.
No, other than that, they were trying to find monies for themselves, and that really the only thing that he could find at that time was going to be 1.5 to add to what we already had as our deficit.
And I'm asking my question because I sat in Ms. Shoemake's stead in that meeting, and so that's why it just threw me like, huh?
All right, so where are you?
I mean, and I'm not I'm gonna speak plain, but that's what it seems like, we actually have more. That's why I'm just wondering, was that before or after? Because that would've just put us right where we need to be.
Yeah, and I guess going into it, once we saw that the state, well, with the support cap, giving us an additional $3 million, I said, well, if we get the additional 3, because the meeting you were in, the discussion was trying to at least meet halfway. Saying halfway would have been $3 million.
Right.
So with the $3 million that we received and the 6.7 that we needed to close that gap, we thought we would be whole, but we only, he was only able to give us 1.5. I guess maybe they went back and looked at some other things in their budget. I don't know, but
Oh, I get it.
But he came back and just shared that we can do 1.5. So we knew then that with the 1.5 and the 3.3 that we're getting from the state with the relief of the support cap, that's going to put us at 1.9 deficit.
Thank you, Dr. Patillo. Thank you, Dr. Tracy. You all explained it the best that you could, but I left that meeting feeling that the 3 would, okay, we'll do the 3, but let us go back and make sure. That's how I left the meeting. So now that we've received that, and I know everybody can count, that it would say that would put us right where we need to be. So I'm just curious to why, but hey, I'm not on city council, and I'm not in the meetings that some people are in, but that just kind of like, wow, we're really trying to do this for staff. I keep hearing the word teachers. We're trying to do this for staff, and that just grieves me. I'm sorry to everybody, but it does.
And I will say that meeting is just what the city manager stated that he could find to give us, according to him at that time. The final decision is still made by city council on their final budget vote. So I just want to put that out there. So I say that to say it could change, and they could make us whole with the entire $3 million. But that's what I'm giving you an update from what we had at the last liaison meeting. But we have to be proactive in how we're going to handle this, and it's important for our staff to know that we're committed to what we promised. So, and it's going to hurt to make any cuts, but we are committed to ensuring that they are treated fairly and they receive their proper step. It's been almost 9 years. 9 years. That's a long time to wait without receiving a step. So the superintendent's going to present some possibilities to us, and these are just options. As a board, we discuss those and figure out what's the best route to take. I'm sure none of them are going to be pleasant, but we'll do what we need to do to make that happen. Ms. Shoemate.
Thank you, Chair. And this is not to, as they say, beat a dead horse. I think what Dr. Carton is saying, where did the other 1.5 go? If we were good with the 3 before, why we're not good now? This has nothing to do with Dr. Bracy or the city manager, because again, he reports to council. So he has to do what he has to do in order to do his job. But again, the 1.5 couldn't have disappeared out of nowhere. We were okay with the 3. Why are we not okay with the 3 now? And I think that's what his question, like, did we move the 1.5 somewhere else? And if that's the case, then why? If we were at an agreement, because the 3 before wasn't even enough, and we agreed to the 3. Now we went back down to 1.5. So I think what Dr. Khan is saying, like, what happened to the 3? We were going to be straight, we were going to be good, everything was going to move forward amicably, like everything was set. But now that they found out additional information, now they went to him and said probably cut it in half. And this is just assumption at this point, because again, he has to report to somebody. So I think that's his heartburn, because that's the same as my heartburn. We can't come to the table and say, okay, this is what I got, and then when we come back to the table, we ain't got it no more. So, and that's a heartburn for, I want to say, majority of us, because if we go down to 1.5, I pray that we don't go down again if we're not going to agree on something and stick to it. So I know Dr. Bracy has to do what he has to do, but I'm hoping with whomever's watching, You know, the 3 was fine. It wasn't enough at first, now it is. And so if we can go back up to the 3, we wouldn't have to cut or attempt to cut important things that we have to do associated with our children. And we don't even have, we shouldn't be even looking at this, but because we're not gonna have the funds that we need, we're gonna have to cut some things for our babies, and that's heart-wrenching. And I'm not one for games. If you know me, you know I'm not, but we gotta stop playing. Like right now, everybody's playing with numbers. You have it. You have it. And we're not asking you for some astronomical amount. And when they talk behind the scene and say, we just want to work together, then let's do that. Let's actually do that. We're not trying to go against you. We don't want the old regime where you guys are going against us. We just want to work together to get to the goal that we all claim that we want together. So I'm just saying that to say, I get what Dr. Cotton is saying. Because even if we're saying this here, like you just stated, the ultimate decision is with council. They can move it again. So then where we're gonna be. So if we could just agree to what we initially had and understand that we do not want our babies to be out here without. We already have issues with that. So if you claim that you're for education, if you claim that you want the best for Portsmouth education and our students and our staff, then just do the right thing. Thank you, Chief.
My last comment in regard to this, once again, thank you for explaining, but I see and I understand the city manager's duties were to look at the finances like what we call on Mr. Falk. So I don't blame anyone at this time, but I truly understand that that could change. And as Pam reiterated, Ms. Shoemate reiterated, just that it's that goalpost for me. But thank you for allowing me to share so much when I don't often.
But and I just want to reiterate as well that, you know, I agree with all of you. I just want to make sure I keep the playing field fair. When the governor's budget was released, it was the same day that we met. So I can't say that he had an opportunity to share with City Council what the new budget numbers were. I know he met with Dr. Bracy before our meeting. So I can't say that City Council has heard what those numbers were at the time or made any decisions on it. The city manager took a look at what he had at the time with his CFO, and that's what he gave us, according to them, at the last meeting for that. But as I stated before, City Council, they like just like us, they have the ultimate decision on what they do with the budget and how much we're funded. But we need to be proactive with what we're doing to make sure. My main focus is make sure we have something in place so that our staff get what they deserve. That's my main thing.
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
Jimmy, I'll add to that.
Okay.
So, the answer to the question is, yes, they were aware of the support cap, because when we came into the meeting, that was a discussion. So, what does this mean now, where you all are with the budget?
Okay.
So, and we had to approximate the amount, which was about 3.3. That was based off the last calculation tool that we received. So, on the governor's budget now with the that's based off the one that the General Assembly put in place. But now that the governor has didn't veto anything with education, we have to wait for a new calculation tool to come out to actually know how much will it be. Will it still be the 3.3, or could it be? We're hoping it could be a little bit more. And I want to put that out there because I don't want people that's viewing to say, hey, you all said 3.3, and then once the calculation tool comes out, which we don't know, hadn't been released yet, and it ends up being 3.9 or 4.2. I don't want anyone to think that we can't count. We're estimating that based off the last calculation we received in February. So if it ends up more, you'll know why, because we just got the calculation too, and then we know what the numbers are. So if that's moving, it's fluid, I want the public and everyone to know why. So we won't know until we get that to see what the numbers will mean to us. Hey, the more we get, the better off we'll be. And with this presentation that I share, we don't have to look at as many options for you all to consider.
Thank you.
And so this presentation will be based off where we are right now, as of today. And as of today, we're about $1.9 million shortfall, as of today. Miss one.
I'll pass.
You good? Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else before Dr. Bracy gives his presentation? All right.
So, Dr. Patillo, you teed it up pretty well. So what I want to do is basically just looking at 4 different options, and all of these can be intertwined. You know, we can pull from each, and I think you all have the sheets.
Yes, sir.
So you have the total list. So we can put it together any kind of way when you're looking at it. But this is just examples. So if you look at the first option here, to get to the 1.9 that was stated. So you have Starbase, that's 850,000, and mobile classrooms at Victory is 300,000. And I guess you said, well, what is that for? If Starbase is not there, we don't need the mobile classrooms, because the students can now use the space that Starbase has. And those mobiles can be moved away. Dual language immersion. So that's actually based on what we have in this current year's budget, as well as proposed to expand for next year's budget for dual language immersion. So kindergarten now, first grade next year, but if we have to cut, all of that will come out. Then we have communities in school, which we make, we pay to be into our schools. You know, of course they have grants, but we pay into it to expand the number of services that we receive throughout the division. So in looking at these 4 options here, that brings us over a little over $2 million, which would satisfy what we need. This option here really will not, I guess you could say, affect our main instructional focuses. Starbase is a supplement. And then, of course, the mobile units, we know. Dual language immersion, that's an initiative that we have in place. I think it's a great one, but is it necessary? It's not. Is it needed? I would say so. So what would happen, our current teachers that we have now that are in the kindergarten with DLI, they're certified kindergarten teachers. So they'll just be placed in the regular classrooms, with kindergarten classrooms. And communities in school, like I said, that's just what we pay into to expand our program. Option 2, you're looking at, really this is New Directions and Starbase. New Directions, as you can imagine, is a bigger operation. So that's 1.3. Of course, Starbase is the 850, which will get us to 2.2 million. I mean, I don't have to explain to you what New Directions is. That's all alternative placement. Go ahead, sir.
One question: if that was the case, what would be the alternative for
Students.
what would be? Do we have anything alternative for me at all?
Well, no, we wouldn't have anywhere where they could go to be in person.
Okay.
I guess options that we could look at is seeing if we could place some of them on some of our virtual instructional pieces. Also, we could see what could be done at a separate location, you know, in the school to get them out of the main, get them out of the, you know, the mainstream. So, not something that we would want.
Yeah.
But that would be the only option. I mean,
I'm a backup to come right here. With the Starbase, no longer, if we cut Starbase, the 300,000 for the mobile classroom, would that be added to this model? Number 2 option?
yeah, the mobiles, they would have to go anyway.
So that would be 2.5?
Right.
Okay, all right.
Right. You're right. That they travel together. Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Bracy.
Yes.
And to piggyback on that, the mobile classrooms, I thought we actually purchased those. So is that for the teachers, that 300,000? Because I thought we purchased the mobile classroom.
Lease.
We leased it. Oh, I thought we purchased it.
No, lease.
So if we did option 2, we're at a larger risk of actually losing some students that we could actually save by them going to New Direction Center. Because when we're talking about possibility of virtual and all that stuff, we possibly going to lose some kids. I can't, you know what I'm saying, I can't see them all being prone to virtual learning. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to put that out in the atmosphere.
And then the other piece, they're at home, they're in the community, will they be disciplined enough to log in? Right.
Right.
Last year.
And to piggyback off that, how many students are actually in New Directions?
About 110
110?
average. It fluctuates.
Sure. It's a big building. It's just 110. It's option 3.
So we gotta go.
And also in that building, we also have adult ed in Clark, and also we got transportation department is there. SPED is over there. Operations, yeah. So
Oh,
It's not just that building,
Yeah.
it's not just the student. You got several offices over there as well.
and so will it affect our staff? Or will we relocate them? How would?
Yes, the staff that's there would be placed into some of our vacant positions.
and I believe also for Starbase, how much personnel is that? It's,
8.
Eight.
8,
And
8
and we
teachers
needed-
and 1 administrative assistant.
And so I guess those positions would be rolled into the ESL
Exactly.
positions that we need. So we're mandated by the state to have more ESL positions. We don't have enough. So I guess we would just roll
Yeah.
any personnel to cover those slots. I guess how it would work.
The current teachers will be placed back into the classroom. So what that would do with those, I guess you could say those slots, we're required to have 10 additional ESL teachers. So pretty much what you're doing, you're moving it from Starbase personnel into what the state's requiring that we need to do with the ESL teacher-student ratio. So we're taking something that we're providing as an option or a supplement to something that's required. I guess that's the best way to look at it.
Mr. Trail.
But then also, when we're looking at option 1 and 2, we're looking at cutting some of the biggest programs that keep our children competitive compared to other cities.
You go ahead, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
All right, so here's option 3, security and alternative education. So what we also did, we took a look at what we had proposed for the upcoming budget. Taking the 13 part-time security officers to full-time. The amount that we budgeted for that was $439,000. So that's something that we could potentially pause on and just keep the part-time instead of making them full-time, to give each elementary school 2 full-time security officers, SSOs. So that was an option. Then also, we were adding 3 additional security officers to our middle school. They have 2. We wanted each school to have 3. But as a result of this, we said, well, let's just keep them at 2, and that'll save us another $187,000. And then, of course, with the new directions again at the bottom, which would bring us to 1.9. So many different ways we were looking at, this year's proposed budget versus what we already have in our current budget, to try to see which items we can move to get to that magic number. So the next. So then option 4, not popular at all, but all of them are just options. This is extracurricular and instructional programs, Starbase, the mobile classrooms, communities in school, middle school sports, athletic and after school activity security. So of course, everybody knows middle schoolers, we're not required to have middle school athletics, but I think it's important.
Very
Yes, we
much.
definitely consider it. Absolutely, yes.
Yes.
Go after him back.
Yes.
Dr. Cotton, sorry.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Ms. McSwain, and thank you, Dr. Brayson, excuse me. But that sports component is important. Just a little history on that. When we had more high schools, only 2 high schools that had 8th grade that allowed students to play JV sports. You had to get a zone waiver if the team was full. And I did that knowing I wanted to go to Norcom, and I would score in. And it also gives them the opportunity, you're an ex-sports person yourself, the opportunity to play on that in that vein or that level, which potentially brings scholarships. So having that, I feel, is very essential. But when those made a comment, like I said, I feel your pain. This is heart-wrenching. So that carries me back to before that we spent quite some time on. And I just thought of something. That whole, I remember the term, I don't have a short memory. That whole term guardrail. And you did say half. So I think with the half thing, I think that is the guardrail being set up, which is the movie on the goalpost. Right? Now, we got to do what we got to do. But I did want to say with that, and remind us that our junior high, our middle school, one of our middle schools won. They won the championship. So being so of a young program, they progressed early. And that's rough taking that from the students who look forward to playing as well, coming from the 6th grade to the 7th, then to, yeah, so.
Yeah, you're right, they won football and basketball.
Yeah.
The girls.
Yeah, so we're dealing with potential Finney Smiths. Okay, that's all I have. Y'all got it.
All right, so those were just 4 scenarios that we put together. If you take a look at the list, the items for consideration, you can plug them up, in a different way. I could have done 10, 15 more of these different scenarios, but this was just an example, just so you can see exactly what we're looking at when we're trying to put some pieces together. But of course, ultimately, whatever it is that's considered, it would definitely have your approval with it for us to even consider this. Now, I know the city is going to vote on their budget on the 13th.
Tuesday.
So that's next Tuesday.
I have a question, Dr. Bracey. That security piece is nagging at me. There was a reason why we wanted to move to full-time for 13 and the 3 full-time middle school security officers. So can you just elaborate on that a little bit? Because I want people to understand that's not a small feat right there to get rid of our security officers. We need coverage at all times, and if we're missing any coverage at a school, we have an issue, a serious issue. So if you don't mind.
Sure. I mean, I will. Now, Dr. Simmons gave me this because, security falls under him. So basically, what he was saying is that right now at the elementary schools, we have 1 full-time SSO. And those are our officers, no weapons. And 1 part-time that's there for 4 hours. So what happens during the course of the day, if something is going on in one of the classrooms and that person needs to get down to the hallway to one of the classrooms to see what's going on, if it's not within that 4-hour period of that part-time, then the main entrance is not covered by anyone. So we were concerned about that. So we thought if we could have that person for a full day, we know that the front door will always be covered. And then when someone goes to make their rounds, because we encourage them to make rounds, that you would have someone that will still be there to man the front door right there at the office. So, but without that, we make ourselves vulnerable and will not be as secure as we would like. And that's something that, you know, they observe through their walkthroughs with the Sheriff's Department. And when they make these recommendations to us, you know, we try to come back and try to put some of those pieces into place if we can.
And the elementary school, they share the SROs, right?
Yes,
Like
some-
with the middle schools.
Some schools share, some have their own permanent SRO. But
And I just want to say that when you have a part-time security position, normally they're gone by the time dismissal happens. And if you know, when we've had weapons enter the school by adults and by parents, it's normally at pickup time. And so it makes me nervous not to have enough security in our elementary schools. And most of the things that are happening now in the country and in the state, they're not happening all the time at high schools, they're happening in elementary schools. And I just want to make sure we keep that in mind, how important that is. Ms. Futrell was next, I believe.
Well, first, thank you, Dr. Bracy, for just digging deep and finding something out of nothing, really creating something out of nothing. I think it's a shame that we're sitting here having to discuss this, as many of my colleagues have already said. It's really a disgrace that this city has the audacity to have a state of the city with marketing videos, blankets, drop the mic moments, and yet and still we put our schools at risk. It is a safety concern. Every single one of these options is a safety concern. And for anybody to run on safety and you know, worry about the police and our communities being safe. Communities are not safe if we have children who are not educated properly and who don't have programs that are going to make them competitive in the world. And so I think that that's something those who are watching need to really understand that. Those who are making these decisions really need to lean in and understand that, because you can't have a great city without great schools, and that's just period. It's no way possible. That's all I got for right
Right,
now.
and Dr. Brace has provided a full list of the possible programmatic cuts also that you have. And I'm going to ask that we upload this presentation into board docs now that it's also been presented sometime tonight or tomorrow, so that board members can also pull it back up and that the public can see it if needed, being able to discuss it. I would like them to have access to that as well.
Absolutely.
All right. Do you have any questions at all?
I just want to ask Dr. Brayson, I hate to keep asking you, but for those who are watching, do you mind just identifying some of the communities and schools that we're at risk of cutting so that people can understand what we're about to, what our choices are, that we're going to have to give up something, if you don't mind.
Okay. Now, Dr. White will pull that. You know, he would have that, but I think what it is, what we would end up having to do is, of the sites that we have and the locations that they are, there may be one or two that we may have to cut because of the additional funding that we provide for the staff.
Okay.
Now, Dr. White, you have the exact locations.
The schools, yes, I'm pulling them up. But it's Douglas Park, and this is off the top of my head.
Norfolk,
Brighton, Norcom,
Braddock.
Craddock,
Yeah,
Craddock Middle, Craddock Elementary.
at risk.
See,
And we were looking to move two into the church. It was a total of 8.
something that we truly need.
It's a needs budget.
You know what I'm saying?
It was a needs budget from the beginning.
Yes, so you see for the other possible recommendations with elementary summer school, performing arts field trips, Port Town Magic, and also the mindfulness program is also listed as possible
Mindfulness, the mental health.
possible cuts.
This is great.
So I'll ask that you all continue to look at that, come up with your suggestions and ideas and possibilities and strategies for that, and be prepared to discuss those at our next meeting, or you could email your suggestions as well for Dr. Bracy as well, and he'll let me know if you have any other questions or comments in reference to this.
I think board member Shoemake said it'd be the dead horse, but the more I look at the list, and I just think about all of the things that we all were so proactive with, DLI, with Starbase, all of these things that bring so much to our city to make our students competitive, to be able to compete. And the part that continues to ring in my head, because I work for the government, one of the things that the people that enter have to do is take a literacy test. And that test is based on a 3rd grade English level. So when I think of that people, adults, fail it, and I think about being in this role and we are considering cutting vital pieces that help our students to thrive, I think it is asinine to even have to even look at this when we know all of the things that we're putting at risk. And some people on council who say they are pro education, I'm hopeful that when they have their meeting, they come back and realize the damage that this will do, the impact that this will have on our students is none of these scenarios, and then when we look at the list, none of this is going to be something that is going to be something that will continue to attract people here.
Correct.
Like, that's also something else to consider. Families, this is a big military area. Families coming here, like, these are things people consider to be, because you want to put your children in a space that they can compete in a room with anybody. And if we take these things, we're gonna lose more than what we've lost. It's heartbreaking, to say the least.
Now, I want us to continue to also, I know this is not a desirable outcome, but I also want us to know that we're doing this because of our commitment. Again, I want to restate that our commitment to retain quality staff and also to recruit staff. And we can't go another fiscal year not giving step increases to staff. We can't survive another year not doing that. We're losing too many teachers and too much staff to other school divisions for a few $1,000s, and we need to make sure people are being treated fairly and on their appropriate steps. So we don't want to do anything like this, but we're committed to doing that. So, and as I stated in our liaison meeting, that it wasn't a haggle session. It wasn't much negotiations. It wasn't going back and forth. We actually we worked on some ideas that we're going to work on together, to move the city forward in the school division as well. But this was their number, and if that's what they say they can give us, then we're going to do what we have to do on our end to make sure we get our staff what they need. So that's why we're in this place. And I know it's not a good place, but we have to do what we need to do to make sure we make that happen. So, and again, this can always change.
That's right.
We can get additional funds from the governor's budget. The calculation tool changes, not that much, but it'll give us a little more. And again, city council has the ultimate decision, and if they can find funds from somewhere else to make it happen, that could possibly happen too. So I'm keeping that open mind as well when it comes to that. So, but to mull this over, put some things together in your mind, and be prepared to share out at our next meeting. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. Bracy, I just want to highlight one possible cut: athletic, after-school activity transportation. Does that include, that's middle and high school, correct?
Yes.
And that is all sports, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to highlight that to the public that's watching. Think of the possible impact, whether your students play sports, debate team, the clubs, not having transportation. I think in our city, and I had this conversation with the city manager, I don't think he feel like transportation is a barrier in our city. However, it is. I can say over 50% of our families do not have transportation. They're not able to transport their children to and from after school practice. And without that transportation, a lot of these students would not be participating in any athletic opportunities. So, I mean, to piggyback on that, you cut transportation, you literally return cutting water off. Now these kids are looked at as the savior for their households, with so much money they're making once they go to college participating in sports. So you're literally cutting off that financial freedom of a family by cutting off transportation. So I just want to go on record and say transportation is a huge barrier in our city. Thank you.
To Vice Chair's point, I think not trying to rationalize, but I think sometimes people lose sight of when they did have grade school children. So that's something I never want to forget. Being a grade school child, having some who were, and having one that is, that they can't drive, and some of the parents don't have the means to drive, and then also the work schedule. Some of you have tried to come from some meeting or something you had going on in another city and trying to get through the tunnel to get to your child. Literally today, I had a last minute call from my wife to go get my son at 4:30. That's why I walked in at 5:15. So we have to keep that in mind beyond the staff, but works great or works for the parents as well.
Yeah.
As a school district or division, whatever you want to call it, we're still serving the community that lives here. I wanted to iterate that and reiterate what Vice Chair said. I'm done. I'm frustrated. To be honest with you.
Second.
Thank you again, Dr. Bracy. Thank you, Dr. Bracy, and also Mr. Falk and his staff, and of course your team, executive team as well, for putting some of these items for us. And we'll take these into consideration. Moving on to agenda item 4.3, it's the employee transaction report. I entertain a motion at this time.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Vice Chair, second by Ms. Futrell. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Boone?
Yes.
Dr. Cotton?
Yes.
Mrs. Futrell?
Yes.
Mrs. McSwain?
Yes.
Mrs. Sessoms?
Yes.
Ms. Shoemake?
Yes.
Dr. Walker?
Yes.
Dr. Patillo?
Yes.
The vote is unanimous.
Thank you so much. Agenda item 4.4, consideration of utilization of TIPS contract. I entertain a motion at this time.
Move for approval.
Oh, second, I'm sorry.
Motion made by Vice Chair Axon, second by Ms. Shoemake. Is there any discussion?
Just this is the basically extended for that another year.
Yeah, this is the contract to extend for our bus camera system.
Okay, understood.
So, if we're renewing the contract, I just have a question, because I know initially we had several defective cameras, and maybe Dr. Bracy, I see Dr. Simmons, but I'll yield to you. How are they going to, if we're renewing this, deal with defective cameras that's not working, cameras that's lagging, cameras that's not even operating on the buses?
You address that, please.
So Mr. King is currently working with the company in terms of on a daily basis to get all of those things corrected in terms of, so this is possibly going to be an upgrade to the existing system. So his team is working through that, and even as we speak right now on a daily basis. So the company is actually coming out bus by bus to make sure that all of those issues get corrected.
I guess, can we have something, I don't know, at the school board retreat, because it has been an ongoing issue, and I personally thought it was fixed, and you know, and there's still some cameras that are not working. So for the public that's watching, can you explain like the camera process, whether it's real time, delayed time, how it just operates if an incident was to happen on the bus?
So in real time, once the bus is started, the camera starts to record. So the camera records from the time the driver starts the bus, runs his route, in terms of the camera should be recording. So any incidents that occur on the bus, there are several cameras positioned on the bus to where if there's an incident that occurs, the staff and even the principal, if they ask for that video, we can go back and pull that video in terms of, which helps us in situations where we have situations where we need to view camera footage. You are correct, in some cases there are some malfunctions that we need to work through, but for the most part, that's how the system operates in real time.
Okay, and just for the record, it is in color. People have asked, is the camera in color? It is in color, correct? And
And living color, baby.
and as far as I'll yield. I was asked, was the cameras in color, and the malfunction was not due to cybersecurity or hacking on TIP's part, was it?
No.
A cybersecurity issue? Okay. All right, thank you.
And Dr. Bracy and Ms. Cheeks, we'll have them present that at the retreat.
I made a note. You got it. You got it. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Here, we need a
Gotta do
vote. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Boone?
Yes.
Dr. Cotton?
Yes.
Ms. Futrell?
Yes.
Mrs. Futrell, excuse me. Mrs. McSwain?
Yes.
Mrs. Sessoms?
Yes.
Ms. Shoemake? Dr. Walker? Yes. Dr. Patillo?
Thank you so much. Agenda item 4.5, consideration of utilization of Equila's contract. This is for carpet cleaning services. I entertain a motion at this time.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Vice Chair.
Yes.
Second by, I believe, Ms. Shoemake. And I just want to say it for discussion, this is actually their carpet cleaning devices, not actual people going in to do the service. So I did ask about that to make sure we were considering local vendors as well as NWBEs for actual service projects. So this is actually for actually machinery. All right, any more discussion? Madam Clerk.
All right, Ms. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Boone?
Yes.
Dr. Cotton?
Yes.
Mrs. Futrell?
Yes.
Ms. McSwain?
Yes.
Mrs. Sessoms?
Yes.
Ms. Shoemake?
Yes.
Dr. Walker?
Yes.
Dr. Patillo?
Yes.
And the vote is unanimous.
Thank you. Agenda item 4.6, consideration of utilization of the Bass Cup contract. This is similar to what we did at Church Elementary earlier this year, where they had to go in and do some deep cleaning and restoration services there. We have a couple more schools that will need the same thing to clean out air vents and things of that sort. So that's the purpose of that contract. And I entertain a motion at this time.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Futrell, second by Ms. Boone. Is there any discussion? Vice Chair.
And just, this is for like mold or?
So the same type of claim.
Okay, gotcha, because I've seen Serpro.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
All righty, Ms. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Boone?
Yes.
Dr. Cotton?
Yes.
Mrs. Futrell?
Yes.
Ms. McSwain?
Yes.
Mrs. Sessoms?
Yes.
Ms. Shoemake?
Yes.
Dr. Walker?
Yes.
Dr. Patillo?
Yes.
The vote is unanimous.
Thank you so much. Agenda item 4.7, the consideration of utilization of the Allied States Region 19 contract. This is for data immigration. So pretty much all of our assessment scores and things that sort will be combined into one database that is functional with Power School as well. So that's the purpose of this contract.
Move
Now-
for approval.
Second.
I'm sorry, Chair.
Motion by Vice Chair, second by Ms. Futrell. Is there any discussion? Vice Chair got somewhere to go. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Atkinson.
Yes.
Mrs. Boone.
Yes.
Dr. Cotton. Mrs. Futrell.
Yes.
Ms. McSwain.
Yes.
Mrs. Sessoms. Yes. Ms. Shoemake. Dr. Walker.
Yes.
Dr. Patillo.
Yes.
And the vote is unanimous.
Thank you. Agenda item 4.8 is agenda review for May 22nd. Of course, you can review that. If you have any addition to that, please send an email or give a call. Agenda item 4.9 is subcommittee reports. Do we have any reports at this time? Trill.
Yes, sir. I did have one actually that I think is worthy to speak on here as well as when we go to the dais because it is just big news. And I honestly, if it's okay with Dr. Bracy, would like for Ms. Jackson to speak about, we had an HR committee meeting, and there are so many great things that she is doing right now, her and her team. Because of course it's no I in team, but she and her team is doing a whole lot of great, amazing things in our city with our schools, with recruiting staff. But the biggest thing that I would love for you to just speak boldly, I mean stand up and drop the mic, because this is definitely worthy of that, but the numbers, the vacancies that we had when you came in and where we are right now. It's just amazing.
Absolutely. So creating this robust recruitment team. In January, we had 160 openings. Today, we have 89, and that is a direct result of social media marketing. Utilizing those platforms, doing on-site job fairs. We actually have on-site Thursdays, so candidates can just come to this building and just come and apply.
Yeah.
And that is, again, access to job opportunities that might be of interest to them. But we're going to continue on this track because it never stops.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue to recruit.
And
right?
again, I want
Big
to
business.
thank Dr. Jackson for that and her team, but also team is the right word.
Absolutely.
She mentioned social media platforms, communication as Lawrence department. Technology plays a role in that.
Yes.
Dr. White and Dr. DeVries, they make sure they have staff there to cover those on-site job fairs.
Yes.
So it's really a team effort. Dr. Simmons, they set up those job fairs at schools and locations. It's just that's why I love Portsmouth. We're a community.
We shine.
And like Lawrence team promotes, we shine brighter when we're together.
That's
right. So just thank you for the hard work you're doing.
Yes.
And that's why y'all get paid the big bucks for doing this good stuff. But thank you for that.
Sure.
Vice Chair.
And to piggyback on what Chair said, Ms. Jackson, he said we are a community, and also HR is out in the community.
That's right.
At games,
Yes.
events.
Yep.
I was shocked. I went to an event. I was like, oh, HR here too? Okay. Got some nice merch. But like you said, we are a community, and you all are out in the community as well, recruiting. So great job on that as well.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you. Any other reports and comments?
Ms. Sessoms and I had the curriculum instruction meeting with Dr. DeVries and her team, just to highlight some of the ones elementary. They're having a great summer LEAP program, which is for students that go to summer school. So then after summer school, they're able to have a place to go from 1 to 4. And then that's 250 slots that are available for the summer school. So that's awesome. For secondary, of course, we had CTE signing day, and a few of us went that helped to celebrate those students. That was an excellent one. And then also special ed had their own drive-through today for their teachers, and I went out there and I supported that, and I gave extra books to those teachers that were there. She had a very good turnout, Miss Battle Hardy. And then also the Office of School and Teacher Quality, they have a partnership with NSU and the teacher residency, and they select 6 candidates to be interviewed, and then we get to keep 3 of those candidates in that teacher residency program. So if you have anything to add to what I have.
All right. Great, Ms. Wayne.
Okay, I went to a few events, but let me say one that really knocked me off my feet, because not only was I military, I played the saxophone. So I went to see the church and high school band ensemble this week with Mr. Nash, and when I sat there, I was like, Lord, I'm gonna have to sit through this, But those kids were excellent. I'm just telling you how I felt. I was like, at first, I was like, no. I thought I was listening to professionals.
Okay.
I only noted one mistake, and that's because someone came in too soon. But other than that, it was perfection. And so, and that's what we need to, make sure we support not just our sports, but also, the arts and all that. And so, I was sitting there. Now, another thing, I was at the track meet, me and the vice chair, but can we make sure they understand those the little cards that we have from the Virginia High School League? Because I'm like, I don't want to keep having to explain why I don't have to pay to get in these events. I'm going to be everywhere.
Same thing that happened to Q, happened to her at church.
I would just like you all in the public to know this has been an issue.
I don't care whether they're familiar with me or not. They need to understand that those cards allow us to get in.
And if you try to go to Chesapeake, they're going to ignore you. Everybody does.
But I'm talking about Portsmouth. We was in Portsmouth. So if nobody but Portsmouth, no. I don't care if you know my face. If I have that card and my ID,
Right.
let's do something.
So that's let in the
So,
record.
yes,
Yeah,
I promise they
we'll get this straight.
Thank you, Dr. Brace. I appreciate it.
Take a picture of all the appropriate cards.
They have it.
But that one isn't up there.
It's on the one that Manor, I'm sorry.
The VSBS.
Yeah, that one is. It's like the VHSL, whatever that one is up there, but not the one that we.
Okay, we'll make sure.
Because I'm going to be there with my church clothes on. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, we'll get this.
Church closed.
That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chick.
I said it made me, I'll wait.
You have something?
Oh, just real quick.
Quick.
I just want to say thank you to every staff member and all of your hard work.
Yeah.
It does not go unnoticed. And real quick, for me, although I'm not big on politics, I'm very no nonsense. I look at myself as a public servant. The more that I stay on school board and the longer I stay as an elected official, I understand how some of those who came before us end up responding in a certain way. When I first got elected, I used to, and I'm just be honest with you, when I first got elected, I used to look at Dr. Whitaker and be like, oh my gosh, he is so angry. And although I didn't agree to everything that he used to say and advocate for, I understand now. The longer you stay in politics, you understand that there's a lot of BS. There's a lot of fluff that's unnecessary instead of just doing what needs to be done. I hope everyone who's watching understands that what's being provided to you and what's going to happen from our elected officials is what is, not what's being said. What you see is what you're going to get. Please don't allow people to tell you one thing and show you another. And I'm saying this because it is an election year. Just like next year is an election year. You have a lot of good people who are elected, and you have a lot who portray to be good. Please make sure that you do your due diligence and know who's who. If we say that we're advocating for education, then you should be able to see that. You should be able to see that in their voting. You should be able to see that in their participation. You should be able to see that in their passion. I never want to come across as somebody that's like angry, although I really don't care how people feel about me. And for this particular board, because I believe in our chair, I will always do what's best to make sure that he has some consistency and some peace within his own board. However, when it comes to people providing misinformation outside of this board, that makes me angry. I don't play games. I don't say one thing and do another. Some people do, and that's your business. But at the end of the day, we were elected to do the job that we're supposed to do. And that's just not one community. That's not one demographic. That is everybody. And so for everybody who's out there watching, please make sure that you pay attention to not just us, to not just council, but everybody who's elected. And make sure that what you see is actually what's happening when they're speaking. Okay? Thank you all.
Thank you. I will just add a few. I gotta come behind all that, but no. I do want to ask a couple of points from our operations meeting, and I also seen you all this reporting. But some important things you all probably have been asking about. In our liaison meeting, we also talked about CIP projects and the lag in them and the delay in most of our CIP projects. It was a great discussion. Our council liaisons were in agreement that something needs to change as far as how these CIP projects are prioritized and how they're actually worked on. So a meeting was set up with Dr. Bracy and the city manager and all those, Dr. Simmons and other engineering officials. So for the PACE Center, which we broke ground almost a year ago, for the PACE Center, I believe all the hurdles have now been removed and corrected. And so sometime next week, they should be signing the official contract with the developer, and he will start work right after that. So within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we should see work happening at the PACE Center for that. After the contract is signed, that's when they have their pre-construction meeting with Dr. Simmons and his staff and the construction crew and engineering, and we should see a lot of things starting to progress with the PACE Center at that time. So I'm not going to give a timeline when it's going to be finished, but they're going to start working pretty soon, and we should see some things happening when it comes to the PACE Center. With IC Norcom and the football field, track, athletic fields upgrades, those will be starting soon. There was a concern about the football season not having home games because of the renovations being done, but they're going to start working on that this summer, and they're going to work around the football season in other parts of the field, and then when football season's over, they'll flip and jump on that and let everyone else play their sports in the other parts of the field. So am I correct with that? Okay, so that's going to begin this summer as well, so that'll start happening as far as that's concerned. Dr. Simmons and his crew, they finished our summer food service bus, the grilled cheese. So it's completely finished now. And so I have an idea of something we can plan to do to jump on the bus and so not just see it, but also utilize it. So I'll be giving Dr. Simmons to work on a date for that, and so we can see when we all can actually hop up there and tour the grilled cheese bus for that. Lighting projects at Churchland High School is underway for that. Also planning the summer paint schedule. You know, we have one every year. The 3 schools this year are going to be Brighton, Waterview, and Norcom for the inside paint jobs this year. Always dependent upon funds, but that's what we're looking at so far for the paint schedule for that. Outside of that, new lighting at Churchland is happening outside near the fields, and upgrades to the robotics classroom at Churchland have begun as well. So most of us have been in that area. Pretty wide open space, but definitely needed some upgrades. So that's being, to say it lightly, that's being done now as well. And I believe that was all we had. And I'll send the rest of it to you through that. Also with Dean's Department for Technology, we received a $752,000 grant this year that's going to help us improve our Wi-Fi infrastructure for the entire school division. And also help increase our security to defend us against those threats that Vice Chair mentioned earlier, and keep us safe from cyber threats as well. So I'm thankful for Dean for staying on top of that. We haven't been prey to that as of yet, so and that's because I think him and his team, they're diligent and make sure that we stay secure as possible. So that's that part of the school division you don't see,
Right.
that's happening behind the scenes that are working very hard, and I'm thankful for them for all they do as well on a daily basis. And I believe that was all I had. Went over our finance information. We've been talking about that all night. Dr. Walker, did you have something that you wanted to add? You don't? Okay, good. Vice Chair.
Chair, I just, since you mentioned the grilled cheese bus, I know I think his name was Jim or John, that's over food services. Is it Jim, James, John?
Name three different people. You talking about Taurus? Is it Taurus? What's his name?
You done gave this man so many names.
Mr. Riddick.
Jimmy Johnson.
Mr. Riddick.
Okay, gotcha. I know he was supposed to come back and redo his presentation to bring to the board the cost of if we were to contract food service.
So, Ms. Cheeks, can we also put that on our retreat agenda and as a main item? So we want to finally go ahead and get that presented in full. We could. And basically with that, let's bring forth Dr. Simmons to tell your crew the cost, what options will possibly be, maybe the difference in the options between what we have now and what they could possibly bring, and also the comparison and cost as well, and so we can make an informed decision. That's pretty much what we're looking for, right?
Right, and possibly like if not all, do like a pilot school test as well. And Mr. Riddick, what's his first name? It's not James.
Is James?
Okay.
Oh,
that's
okay. Okay. You said Jim.
I said Jim James. It was a James and John.
Luke, Matthew, go ahead
Go through the James. And John.
Right.
I was gonna give you a scripture next.
All right.
my Lord.
You have anything else for the good of the board? All right. All hearts and minds are clear. Thank you all for coming this evening. You have a great evening.
Are you gonna put a call to salvation? We about to need it.